What's going on there, everyone? Alright, kind of a slow news week. There's been a little bit of interesting things popping off here and there, but nothing too drastic. Biden finally, this morning, announced that he was going to run for president. Finally. Come on, guy, what the hell are you waiting for? We all knew you were going to. Just do it. Like Nike says. You know, the left loves Nike. Just do it. But, I don't really want to talk about him too much. We all know the skeletons in his closet. We know his past. We know he's exactly what the left hates. He's an old, white, privileged male. Career politician. But, so who cares about him, you know? He's a creepy son of a bitch. He probably... I could see him becoming the front runner for the Democratic Party just because they can try to hide behind him and say, oh, he's more of a moderate and more of a centrist type. No, he's not. He's just like all of them. Hell, I've been very surprised by some of these candidates on the left that I thought were more moderate until you start doing a little bit of research and you just let them start talking at meetings. Watch their town halls. You're like, whoa, okay, so you're pretty left-leaning on the far end, okay. But let's talk about a couple of these candidates who just seem to love to make headlines for some reason or another. First, I want to talk about the one that seems to bother me the most, you know, as a proud conservative and a constitutionalist. Eric Swalwell. This guy, let me just show you a little clip. Just bear with me.
I'm not calling for a confiscation. What I'm saying is we should invest in a buyback, that we should restrict any weapons that aren't bought back to gun clubs, hunting clubs, shooting ranges, keep them there where it's safe and not on our streets. And if you were caught, just like if you were caught, you know, with drugs or anything else, if they had probable cause to go into your home and you had one of these weapons, yeah, you'd be prosecuted.
Yeah. That's what he's saying. Those are words straight from his mouth. He wants, if you have anything that they consider, the government considers an assault weapon, then they want to be able to come in your house, take your guns, and put you in jail if you don't comply with them stealing your personal property. That's protected under the Second Amendment. See, this is the main reason why I can't stand the left. They always try to do something that's attacking our constitutional rights. If it's not on gun rights, like this freaking moron, then it's going to be on speech rights. You know, they're always going to come after some of our rights. They always do. It's always like a main message of theirs is, we got to fix this. No, it's not broken. It's not broken. There's nothing broken in our system when it comes to our rights. What's broken is people's brains. People have been fed such nonsense from any political party. It doesn't really matter which political party you're from. If you're not careful, you will get fed nonsense by that party. You know, I'll give it to conservatives. I'll give it to them a little bit better. They try not to feed such nonsense to people. They try to generally be more fact-based. But the left just doesn't. They're straight opinionated. I mean, that's all they are. Everything they do is an opinion piece. Look at the leftist news. It's all opinion pieces. It's not news. It's not factual stuff. It's just how they feel. Feels. Come on, man. Come on. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And we can't let someone like Eric Swalwell come in because what do they consider assault weapons? That's a good question. Define assault weapon. You can't say weapons of war because people don't have weapons of war. And like the AR-15, it's not a weapon of war. It's a semi-automatic hunting and sporting rifle. It's not a weapon of war. An M16, I'll consider that a weapon of war. It's fully automatic. It's got a selector switch on it. I get that. I can understand that. But very small percentage of Americans actually own fully automatics. And the people that do legally, because I'm sure there's probably felons and gang members that have fully automatics that are illegal. And yes, they are a threat to our society. But that's the police job. You know? That's the Justice Department as a whole, all the way down to local levels. That's their issue. They got to take care of that. It's not our fault. Us law-abiding gun owners, it's not our fault. But regardless, so that's what we're dealing with Eric Swalwell. That's like his main talking point right now is anti-firearm. Of course. Let me just pick up a narrative and go with it. And this narrative suits me because no one else has really picked it up and moved with steam with it. So, okay. On from him. Let's go to Elizabeth Warren. Now, it doesn't seem that much people in the Democratic Party even like her. Her numbers aren't doing good. And they're probably going to keep falling, most likely. Because she's kind of insane. Like, she was asked about the impeachment of the president because, you know, she's all about that. As soon as the Mueller report came out, she said she was on a flight and she read the whole thing. And she was like, oh, but this, that, and this. They always want to go back to the obstruction. Well, what's funny about the obstruction type charge is he couldn't be charged with that because there would have had to have been the initial crime in order for him to obstruct the process of investigating that initial crime. That initial crime of collusion never happened. Bam. There is no obstruction of justice case because there was no charge. You see what I'm saying? Like, this should make sense to everybody except for far leftists. I understand they just will not be able to wrap their head around it because they're not that bright. I know most of them are college educated, but college doesn't make you smart. Nowadays, college actually seems to dumb you down significantly. It's pretty bad. But, yeah, so, bleh. Bleh. That's like a Russian cuss word. And yeah, I said a Russian word. It's the only one I know from a comedian. Imagine that. And he wasn't even a white guy. He was an Indian. The dot Indian. The actual Indians. But another topic, another guy. Pete Buttigieg. This guy, I'll admit, he got me. He tricked me a little bit. When he first came out, I didn't do a whole lot of research on him. I did just, a very slim amount, honestly. And, this he seemed rather decent and kind of moderate when he first came out. And then he started showing his true colors. He started going full-fledged far left on me. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. And then he started using identity politics, and that's where you lose me and groups of people like me real quick, is when you get on with the identity politics. No one wants to hear that shit no more. People are really tired of it. People are really sick and tired of it. Democrats, do yourself a favor. Stop. For all of our sake, and your own. Really, I don't care if y'all do good or not, because I don't agree with you. But he likes to go on and talk about how Mike Pence and him just don't get along because he's a gay man. Well, these photos, they don't seem like Mike Pence hates him. I mean, albeit, of course, Mike Pence doesn't have a smile on his face. It's very rare to see him crack a smile. But, yeah, it looks like they're working together fine. And Mike Pence even recently came out and said, I don't know what he's talking about. And this is all just a political stunt. See, people got to understand. Conservatives are not what the left call us. We're not that. We are more tolerant than the left. That is for sure, by far. And I think I'm sure there's got to be polls out there by now that can show that. If not, well, it's time to get some polling action going on, because you don't hear about the right talking about race, religion, this, that, and blah 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 blah. You don't hear us talking about like that because we don't think like that. You know, that's a sick way of thinking. That's a very sick way, demented way of thinking when you're only thinking of the person's race, the person's sexual identity. You know, it's, come on. Who cares if you're gay? Like, that's what he's running on, practically. I am what they fear. No, we don't care. Look at my Facebook. Go on my Facebook, Matthew Charles. You will see that I am a straight conservative male living in the southeast end of Virginia. And half my friends, well over half my friends, are a bunch of gay guys. And you know what? We get along fine. We have great times. We go on that Facebook Live and we'll sit there and a whole bunch of us just sit there and talk about stuff. Mainly politics and music. Those are my two things. But, yeah, really, Pete Buttigieg is he's trying to say that Pence has been discriminatory towards him and all that. No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. There's absolutely no evidence of that. Everything that I can pull up and find, they actually seem to have gotten along very well and worked together very well. He's just attacking him because attacking Christians seems to be a popular thing nowadays. Christians are the most persecuted of all religious beliefs in the world, and have been for a while now. Do your research. It's a fact. It is a straight fact. Hell, in the last 2 years, just in France, there's been over 700 attacks on Christian faith centers. That's in one country. Now imagine that all over the place. You go to Africa, those poor Christians, and in the Middle East, those poor Christians, I mean, they're minority groups that are being killed en masse, and no one says a word. No one says a word. I don't get it. All faiths should be protected. All of them, except for the radicalized cult-like ones. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that was a little jab at the Muzzies? No. I think the Muzzies should be able to practice, or as long as they do it in a peaceful manner, like most of them do, go for it. Awesome. More power to you. It's them radical ones. And I don't call them Muslims. I call them radical Islamists, because there needs to be a separation in between the two. But I'm going off on a tangent, so let me try to bring this back home. I'm going to show you one more little clip. This is of Bernie Sanders. This guy, every time he starts going up, he shoots himself in the foot, which is a common leftist mistake. So check out this video. It's just a short clip.
Does this mean that you would support enfranchising people like the Boston Marathon bomber, a convicted terrorist and murderer?
If somebody commits a serious crime, sexual assault, murder, they're going to be punished. But I think the right to vote is inherent to our democracy. Yes, even for terrible people.
Yep. I've been waiting for years and years for the Democrats or someone on the Democratic side to pull this type of maneuver. Let's put voting booths inside of jails and prisons. That sounds like a smart idea. Okay, so you're kind of de-incentivizing the good person, the nice person, the person that is a law-abiding citizen. When you're gonna just let anybody vote or anybody do anything, I mean, come on now. That's like one of the main things that you don't want to get a felony for. It's for you could still have your voting rights and gun rights. Me being a conservative, that's always a concern. But yeah, come on, Bernie. That was probably the stupidest damn thing you could have said, and you say it with glee. You say it like it's some magically brilliant idea. No, it's freaking retarded. And the way you came out on that town hall was even worse. That girl that asked the question to Bernie, oh, she was a champion, and I love the way she worded it. She pretty much worded her question as kind of an attack, like, hey, so you're saying that people she used the Boston Marathon bomber as an example, but so they can vote now. If you got your way, they would be able to vote. Terrible people should be able to vote. No, they shouldn't. They are obviously not right in the head. You know, you're murderers, you're pedophiles, you're rapists. They're not right. Those are bad people that deserve to be locked away from society. If you're letting them vote, you're giving them a voice. Why are you going to give these type of people a voice again? You know? People that are on death row, people that are in prison for life, for violent crimes and stuff, you know, they shouldn't have a voice no more. Their voice was heard. And they got what they deserved from their voice, you know? It's stupid. This is all stupid. I can't believe this is going to be one of his, like, little rally cries. We got to get these prisoners and these convicts, and these rapists, these murderers, we got to get them to vote. Why? And what would be their incentive to vote? They're in prison. And who was the last president who did really good prison reform? Let me think. My God, it was Donald Trump. He was the last president to do an actual meaningful prison reform. And he's a Republican. This is kind of like the Electoral College argument, when you think about it. It's like, who would it really benefit? Probably the Republicans. That's how it would probably end up. Because a lot of states that are blue, most of their votes come from their big cities. That's where most big groups of Democratic voters come from, is these big cities, because they get put in their little tribe in the city, and then they become, you know, tribalized. And that's all they do with it. And they always end up towards the left for some reason. It's kind of odd. There's something about cities. But I'll go on about that sometime or another. That's just a personal feeling of mine. There's something about cities. But, yeah. So that wouldn't work out, and neither probably would letting these criminals vote. Because a good portion of them would probably, if they were allowed to vote, would probably just vote for whoever, because they get to watch the news, you know. They do get to watch TV. So they get to, for the most part, follow what's going on politically. And, if they want to. The thing is these aren't the greatest people in society most of the time. Do you think they're going to sit there and put a vote out that's actually going to be like an intelligent vote? Like they're going to think about it and be like, this person would do good for America. You think they really care when they're locked up and have no plans of getting out? Why would that matter to them, first off? And second off, they shouldn't be allowed to vote. They've done horrible crimes. Shouldn't be allowed to vote. Simple as that. The people who don't commit felonies and serve time, when they get out, they get to vote. They get all their rights back. They can get their rights restored. Even certain felons can get their rights restored. They just have to go through the court process once they get out. It's not that hard. It may take time, but it's not like it's a difficult thing to do. It just takes time, like everything. Whenever you get into a government bureaucracy, it's going to take a while. But you can get your rights back. One of my best friends was in prison for about 8 or 9 years. Got out, waited a few years with no trouble, and he petitioned to get his rights back. And guess what? He got his rights back. And he can vote now. Problem solved. The answer is not putting voting booths in a prison to let a bunch of convicts vote for the president that we're going to have to deal with on the outside of the prison. But I've rambled long enough. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Comment. I would love to hear any comments about anything, your take on Bernie, Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, or Eric Swalwell. I would love to hear anybody's opinions on any of them. Whether it's positive or negative, I love all opinions. If they disagree with me, it gives me something to think about. So, like I said, like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch y'all on the flip side.